Well, hello there. Welcome to episode, I gotta check our thing here, 18.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, or Thursday, or Sunday,
Yeah,
or
depending on when you're
whatever
doing
day it is, when you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube. Welcome to the Dodgeball Marketing Podcast.
Yeah.
This is episode 18, Michael.
Yes. Coincidentally, last one we're recording of 2020. What a year.
What a year.
Yeah, we'll save that for another podcast.
We have, at the time of this recording, we have two presidents, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully that'll, by the time we record again, the world won't be on fire.
Yeah, by the time this gets published, everything will be fine.
You really want to have only the one president, not the two. Okay, cool. So we're gonna talk about 2021. We're titled this one SEO trends to watch in 2021.
Yep, SEO in 2021, SEO trends to watch. We're putting SEO in there twice.
SEO, because we got to stuff that keyword in the YouTube title.
Yeah, that's
all right, Michael, I'm going to interview you for this one because you're the big SEO brain of the operation here.
That'd be Ross Jones, but
this is Ross is great. But I'm gonna ask you. This is basically kind of what your predictions are for 2021. So we'll be able to play this a year from now and embarrass you thoroughly on the ones that you got wrong. And then praise you for all the ones you did get right.
I'm gonna use the clip editor in YouTube to clip out the ones.
We'll go back and
there's gonna be a 3-minute video.
There's gonna be a
3-minute video.
I will not be made a fool of. Okay, cool. So, thing number one here is BERT.
Yep.
And we're not talking about the Sesame Street character.
And we're not talking about Bert Kreischer.
We're talking about BERT, the
Google algorithm.
The Google. Okay. Yeah. What's going on with BERT? What do you think is going to happen with BERT? And also, what is BERT?
So BERT is a big update to Google this year, and it's going to have a lot of implications. We're gonna see. So BERT. It's essentially sort of an acronym, but I'm not even going to get into that because it essentially means AI. It's essentially AI-driven search. So Search Engine Land has a really great example in their article. It would be the difference in intent between the following two searches: 9 to 5 and quarter to 5. This is a great example. This is a really, really insightful example from Search Engine Land. 9 to 5, the word to there means from point A to point B. Quarter to 5 means this much before the 5. So they both have to do with time.
So it's two, and it's both uses the word to, but they're used differently.
It would be easy to see there being an algorithm where you kind of know, well, this is about time. This is about understanding what time it is. The word to here is doing this.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of ways in natural language with especially with longer form searches, when we're using a verbal query to a device like Alexa or Siri, where we're using a lot of prepositions, and a lot of what's happened with search over this last year has changed how we're using search engines. We're using search engines with audible searches more now than ever, and so Google has made a pretty big change this year, and it's going to have a lot of implications. The biggest that I'm highlighting today is that different people are going to see different things. So there's some other changes, but this move towards more natural language and AI, it's going to result in a change in sequential searches. So those are going to be more and more custom to what someone's trying to accomplish.
It's Google.
It's
Google looking at your words, but looking past your words and trying to ascertain your intent behind the words.
Yes. So it's going to be more of a shift to focus on intent, and I can't prove this or anything, but I think we've really seen a change in the behavior of a lot of websites' performance over the last 30 days. We produce a lot of content for our clients around how to do things, or how to find a good contractor to do this, or this particular healthcare condition, for maybe a dermatologist. A lot of that how-to content has helped our sites jump up in the last 30 days because Google essentially got closer to us trying to be helpful on content.
Google's catching up with you. Okay, number two, let me ask you about, a lot of people use tools. There's SpyFu, there's SEMrush, there's a bunch of others that kind of look at where am I placing for this keyword, and what's my domain authority, and who's my competition, where are they placing? How are tools like that, is that going to change at all in terms of their accuracy, in terms of how they're able to give you a snapshot of what's actually going on in Google.
I really think it is. I think it's going to be a tough time for SEO folks who are used to using these tools as if they're a statement of truth. Here's what I think we're going to have going forward. So for years we've had, a Google search. There might be anywhere from 100 to 200 different factors going into what search engine results are for a particular search, including things like where in the world is the person, where are they? If you do a search for a local business provider, Google's showing you something local to you. Well, if you're doing a search for a topic and you just did another search, now Google may be taking into account that search you just did seconds ago.
Yeah.
And if it's a similar topic, they may think you're still working on that. So how are search engine tools like keyword tracking tools going to replicate in their spot checks and their efforts?
Yeah.
It's going to get harder. We've already seen this with localization searches. So we can't always replicate a search in Nashville that we can see when we have a client, or we even simulate or try to replicate searches based on different geographical locations. But now that's just going to get more confusing or more complicated in terms of replicating. So we don't think these tools are going to become worthless. What we think everyone's going to have to do is treat them like we always have, which is they're directional. If things are moving up, things are probably getting better. If things are moving down, they're probably getting worse.
But you shouldn't freak out about, oh no, we were in position 5, now we're in 4, or we're in 5 and 6.
Don't worry about it. You're probably not in 5. You were probably in 5 for that one search. You might have been in 2 for some searches, and you might have been in 18 for some searches for that term during the same period of time.
Depending on who's searching.
Because of who, what else they're doing, and the complexity of that's just gone. Not just in just a further direction of more complexity, but with the BERT update, factor 10 minimum. It's an exponential change in complexity.
Yeah. All right, Michael. Let's talk about too. This is one of your kind of forward-looking predictions, but how do you think Google? We already know Google does this. Certain websites get de-indexed by Google. Certain websites get squashed because the content's low quality, or we've heard of the fake news phenomenon. If they're low reliable websites, a lot of misinformation on medical stuff, like all kinds of stuff and Google sees itself as, for right or for wrong, however you want to look at it, as the arbiter of what people should see, what's valuable to be seen by all these various publishers.
That's right.
How is that? Do you see that staying like it is, backing off and becoming more of a blank platform, or accelerating into more curation, more choosing who's going to be shown and who's not?
Yeah, I don't. So it's sort of we're going on a bear hunt. There's no way around this problem. Google makes up so much of the market share right now, and the conditions, the political and social conditions right now for Google, for political, social, community-oriented events, who's a good guy, who's a bad guy, they're very similar to when we were going into the Medic update. Google was receiving a lot of political pressure to not disseminate bad healthcare information. So the Medic update was a specific corrective to that. Well, now we're in a situation, Google's in really a no-win situation. They essentially own the marketplace of ideas for search engines. And what's happening is a lot of society is becoming more politicized. And so I think we're due for the tech giants are being called before Congress again.
Right.
So we're in kind of the third big highlight of that in the history of kind of this current wave of tech giants. I'm thinking about Facebook, Twitter, Google in terms of being arbiters of truth. So the political conditions are ripe for another thing like the Medic update, but applied to good guys, bad guys in the political spectrum. In a way, I think what's going to happen is that's going to be rolled out in a way that has implications beyond what Google even intends, and I think it will potentially put them at risk of further pressure from Congress.
Yeah, and I would add to that even. I think it opens up the door for even more of a fissure of distribution of the market share. So as Google tamps down more on sites. One example is sites like Breitbart are just completely de-indexed. You can't find them on search. So I think more of that will start to happen.
Right.
And then people will start to go to different. So you got DuckDuckGo that's gaining market share. So I think you're going to see a little bit more of movement around of people that want more. They want things that they know that they can't get. They'll start to think like, well, Google's not going to give me what I want because they don't think I should have it. So I'm going to go to DuckDuckGo or Bing or whoever to get it. So I think that'll be another secondary effect. Google will still be dominant, very dominant, but you're going to see other search engines that act more like platforms. And just kind of like a blank algorithm. They're not sort of pushing the scales anywhere. I think you'll see search engines like that take a little bit more market share.
I think so too. We've got that in here as well. But
great.
But
I didn't read
it. But I think that we're going to have this spread beyond just news sites to things like think about this, and we're not trying to be political or take a side, but for SEO professionals and companies, if you have language on your site that at some point gets culturally deemed to be either hateful or transphobic or gendered, this is going to be like having informal wellness advice before the medic update. You might think that you're providing people tips on how to get better sleep at night, and that it's just kind of a wellness thing that you're just kind of bumping up against, but it's being perceived suddenly after the medic update as, whoa, sounds like you're trying to provide healthcare advice.
Right.
And we don't see the credibility. We don't see the incoming .edu and .gov links. We don't see your domain authority being such that you sort of merit the opportunity to do that.
Right.
So we've had websites that got into the realm of self-help content that are pretty big sites with a lot of traffic, that if they touch on something that's more about psychological health, they've gotten dinged because it was falling into that healthcare category and getting too close for comfort. So I think conditions are ripe for a big push that could happen inadvertently, just with a domain update of trying to do the right thing and trying to minimize the influence of foreign parties on our elections, trying to minimize the spread of hate speech, trying to minimize. There are a lot of companies doing legitimate business that's not political that can easily be adjacent to this stuff, just by virtue of language changing without us realizing how much it's changing.
All right, next we've got news sites and ranking fast. So up until this point, how long did it take a news site to rank, and are you able to rank sites fast, and will you continue to be able to do that?
I'll start with, we used to be able to get a new site going and ranking for something within 3 to 6 months pretty easily. And I would say that now we're feeling more like a year. If we start a new local roofing company and it's a new domain, it's really taken us a year to get them showing up on page 1 for their local market, and it's really stretched out. So this is called Price's Law. Whoever's winning is going to win more. Whoever's losing is going to lose harder. So to whom much is given, more will be given also. He who has little will even have that taken away. So it's very biblical. But we think Price's Law, with the higher SEO becomes more sophisticated, and the better Google gets at pointing to the past as a way to understand the present, the harder it's going to get for somebody who didn't exist in the past to get established in the present.
Right.
So just kind of common sense here, but just in terms of what we're seeing, I'd say 5 years ago, I could start working on a website and within, 30, 60 days, page 1, and now that's just nowhere near the case.
Yeah. All right, we have time for one more, Michael. Which one do you want to do here? We've got, I think, a couple more left. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think I think the one that you touched on earlier, watch for the rise to alternatives to Google. So we've been optimizing for Google and Bing and Yahoo for quite some time, and that's gotten comfortable. I'm seeing a lot of people talking about DuckDuckGo, because they like the privacy aspects of that and the not being tracked. You've also got some advertising that's going to happen, and I think that investors and the sort of investor class are going to see some opportunity in going after some market share. I saw recently someone said, if you want to build a business, look for a profitable company that owns a fax machine. And I thought that was really good. Look for a profitable company that still has some outmoded thinking. And I think consumers are more sensitive to privacy now, and that lack of transparency and that the struggle to sort of know what your rights are with Google feels like a fax machine to me right now.
Yeah.
So I think somebody's going to be coming for Google, and we can watch for DuckDuckGo or somebody else over the next year to be kind of a hot rock star in the space and become a new basic, and maybe even get up to maybe like 10% market share, which would be a lot of money, which would be huge.
Make them a real player in search engines.
I think
a lot of users. 10% of users is a lot of users.
I'm positive and optimistic on the trend of another search player coming into the space.
Competition is good.
We haven't had a new one. We haven't had a new player in the pantheon of tech titans in a while.
It's been 20 years. I think we're kind of due for dominance.
For search. Yeah, for search. Google's been. It used to be Yahoo. Yahoo was a really big deal for a while, and even bought Overture as a paid search platform. But Google, AdWords was such a simple interface. Came out, shot right past Yahoo, and their Overture layout for ad buying was too technical. But somebody's going to come along and beat them.
Yeah. All right. That's it. Hopefully we can replay this in a year and we'll see how right we were. But I think those are good predictions, Michael. So hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so much.